like the part about the medulla oblongata. I don't know what it means, but I love the way it sounds.
Sheenbeard Saga, part number 1. Now we talking Sheen from Jimmy Neutron, or Sheen like he's just greasy and shiny? I guess we'll find out. Now, before we dive into today's story, I have to gush a bit. ReddX read 2 of my stories. Woo! I'm glad to do it, honestly. They were well-written stories, and everybody seemed to get a kick out of it. So yeah, we're back with user Mother of Rain for a little bit more. I just got back to listening to his channel 2 weeks ago after a long break from Neckbeard content. I was completely caught off guard when I heard his voice reading the first one's title. It was surreal to hear my words voiced by the YouTuber. Wow, the YouTuber, whose readings inspired me to write down my first Neckbeard story in the first place. Well, you know, that does my heart well. There's a reason that we're still doing this thing after so many years. Might be a shift in the content a little bit at some point during this year, but the Neckbeard stories will never truly go away. They always live in my heart. I also have to quickly clarify on a matter that came up in the video. In my story about Palm, I referred to a prior darker tale written by me, but ReddX noted that my story about Mound wasn't all that dark. Well, of Palm was not actually my second, but my third story. Between the tales of Mound and Palm, there was another. The story of the legbeard Foam. I deleted the post earlier, however, because I got self-conscious about my writing. I might repost it as a ReddX exclusive. If Mr. ReddX finds himself in need of more cringe, I am completely unsatiable. Yes, there is no limit to the cringe. Please, allow me to narrate it for you. Seriously, dude, I don't know how your spine regenerates so fast. If we could just research it, immortality could be within our grasp. Well, you see, I'm actually an eyeless dark gray monster that came from an alternate timeline where Neckbeards took over the universe. That's some of that good old ReddX deep lore, isn't it? It would be an impossible thing to recreate within this timeline. Definitely not worth it, because you gotta let the beards take over. It's complicated. The magic spine is only mine. I'm sorry. Anyway, enough gushing and side stories, I guess. I am now imbued with inspiration once again, and will thusly wrap up a Christmas present suited for you masochistic cringe lovers. Oh, you know me so well. Reinforce your spines before unwrapping, friends, for here comes the first part of the Sheenbeard saga. It always is fun to start a new saga, isn't it? There's so much potential here. Are we dealing with the derpy beard? Are we dealing with the scary beard? You never really can tell. So first we'll get into the cast list. That might give us some clues. Sheenbeard is a guy pushing 20 who was dating my friend Rose. Chubby, weeby guy whose skin was always covered in a disgusting layer of strange, greasy sweat-like substance that reflected light, giving him his namesake, Sheen. Always got nothing to do with Jimmy Neutron. I'm out. He was into martial arts, new age, and living his life as though it was a dime a dozen in a Hollywood film. There's also Rose, of course, sweet, hyper, and loving 17-year-old girl who was still working on finding herself. 17, 20, well, this was Sheenbeard's girlfriend, and it was her first real relationship. She would eventually break up with Sheen after his constant gaslighting drove her to the verge of literal psychosis. There's also Mora, R.O.P. At the time, I had 17 winters under my belt, and was in the middle of my I must help everyone or I'm worthless phase. Got kind of some notes of Unfortunate Saga already. OP, same vibe. Weeby Naruto martial arts neckbeard, yeah, same vibe. OP had met Rosa online 3 years prior to this, and we had become close friends. Well, already the pieces are starting to fall into place, and I don't like the way the puzzle's shaping up. But we'll get into the story and see how it actually goes. So, our tale begins during a summer over 10 years ago. I'd just gotten home from my trip to meet Rose in person for the first time. We held a sleepover that could be fitted seamlessly into any high school chick flick, during which she told me all about her new boyfriend. Unfortunately, I couldn't meet him in person though, as he was driving a truck to another state during my visit. Rose had promised to introduce him to me online as soon as he was back. I laid down my bags and took out my laptop. I booted it up and was happy to see Rose online. I opened up our good old messenger chat and I shot her a message. OP, hey, I made it safely. Super jet lagged though. How are things across the pond? Rose, hey, Sheen just made it back. I want you guys to meet. Do you have the energy? OP, yeah. I think so. I'm tired, I'm not gonna lie, but if we call, I can put my clothes away while we talk. Rose says, awesome, hang on. All right, here we go. OP's surely gonna have her energy drained faster than basically any other activity on the planet. Interacting with a beard, oh, it's hard times. I smiled to myself and started to toss my musty clothes from my luggage into the washer. In a few minutes, my computer sang the song of her people, and I clicked on the green call icon. Rose's excited face appeared on the screen. Rose, Mora, this is my boyfriend, Sheen. Say hi, Sheen. Rose scooted over, giving Sheen enough room to get into the camera frame. The guy blobbed his mass into a chair next to her and leaned toward the camera. His face was riddled with acne scars and fresh, clearly infected spots. His skin was reflecting blue light from Rose's computer screen, like a slimy mushroom might reflect sunlight after an autumn rain. You really paint the picture here, ain't ya? His hair was buzzed down to a 6 a.m. shade, I think to hide his already receding hairline, and he was sporting a silver lip ring that he would lick and suck on during our following conversation. Oh God, that last part skeeves me out more than anything else, honestly. Sheen, hey there, OP. OP, hey, nice to finally meet ya. Rose keeps gushing about you. I hear you like martial arts. Maybe we could compare notes sometime. Sheen, yeah, I dabble. I'm more into meditation. I get these visions and stuff. Bro, we're like 2 sentences in. Could you not? OP asks, visions? Like the future? Sheen, yeah, but my nose always starts bleeding when I do it. Okay, so it's like That's So Raven meets 11 from Stranger Things. OP looks at Rose with an uncertain expression. Is that so? Rose, yeah, he's so cool, isn't he? I don't know if that's the word that I would have chosen. I wasn't sure if this new guy was all that cool. I'd had a few experiences in my life that one could call paranormal, and as such, wasn't against believing that there were people with spookily accurate premonitions or more. But Sheen using this information as an opener? Yeah, that didn't sit right with me. And who could blame me for that? That's sus. Super sus. I took a moment to think on this new revelation, using needing to turn on the washing machine as my excuse to step away for a moment. Rose was not dumb by any means, but she could be naive. She faced so much adversity in her life, I worried that she might be latching on to this guy simply because he was nice to her and gave her lavish gifts. I pressed the start button on the machine and listened to the water gurgling up through the pipes. I'd keep an eye on things, but Rose was clearly enamored with this guy, and dissing on him right out of the gate would hardly be constructive. Look, OP, friends tell friends the truth even when it might hurt, okay? I'm not doing this because I'm jealous of some crazy thing like that. I got no dog in this fight. But the way he introduced himself, the way he looks, the way he acts within the first few minutes, I just don't know about all that. Anyways, I returned to my laptop and we exchanged a few more pleasantries before I felt the long hours on the plane catching up to me, and I announced that my flight to Dreamland was about to take off. And I had to board it post-haste. Despite my worries, I did sleep like a log floating downstream, unaware of its final destination being the paper factory. Yeah, there's worse ways to go. Make yourself useful, you know? A few months passed with me getting to know Sheen a bit more through Rose, and eventually he wrote to me one-on-one on occasion. One-on-one-on? Yeah, I did see what you did there, but it didn't bother me none. So, Sheen seemed deluded in a way that he had become uncomfortably familiar with me because of my freshly ended relationship with Mound. He rambled on and on about his visions and how he had a special destiny in this world. Bro, it's kind of got like some Iowa beard vibes mixed in here. This is really weird. I had just about gathered up enough courage to talk to Rose about my concerns when during one of our calls, she brought up Sheen all by herself. Rose, OP, listen, I really don't feel comfortable with you and Sheen talking. Oh, you gonna play that card, really? OP, what? How come? Rose, I know you wouldn't do anything, but I just feel jealous, okay? Oh yeah, imagine me coming after this dude. Are you high right now? OP, you have absolutely no cause to feel jealous, I promise. I would never do that to you, and he definitely isn't my type. Rose, still, would you do me a favor and not talk to him too often? Bro, are you implying that this was my choice? He's the one that snuck into the DMs. What do you want? I did promise to cut back on my responses to Sheen and leave him rambling to himself for the most part, and Rose seemed content with that. My exam season came up, and I couldn't spend much time with my friends, online or otherwise. When I regained my freedom nearly 2 months later, something had changed. Rose was hardly around. Sheen, however, was. He would tell me all sorts of stories about Rose acting insane and unbalanced. He claimed that Rose had violent outbursts during which he needed to subdue her, apparently. She had even stabbed him with a pen to the chest. Is this out of character for Rose? I'm pretty sure this was all part of the aforementioned gaslighting, right? But this did make OP deeply concerned because she didn't know about that gaslighting yet. So I wrote to Rose trying to figure out what was going on. I didn't mention anything about the accusations that Sheen had made about her actions. I wanted her side of things. Rose claimed that she was fine. Things were fine. Everything was fine.
This is fine.
I bit my lip and told Rose that Sheen had implied that things were, a bit less than great. Rose deflected and shut down like a gnome's coin purse, unwilling to continue our chat. Gnome's coin purse? Yeah, alright. Definitely a big sign that all is not well in Roseland. Around this time, I was dealing with some other issues in my life, so despite my worries about Rose's well-being growing, since she wasn't accepting my help and so many others were pushing for my attention and time, I had to let it go for another month or so. Then I got a message from Rose. In a nutshell, it was a copy-paste explanation of how she had chosen to cut off all of her friends and focus only on her family. Yep, cutting off the social support network, that is like maltreatment 101, is it not? I rushed to ask Rose what was going on. She briefly told me, I don't know what's real anymore. I don't want to deal with people and lies, and I just can't. Goodbye, OP. You were a good friend. And that was it. For the next 6 years, I didn't hear a peep from Rose. I felt hurt and abandoned. We'd been close friends for years, but Sheen's entrance into her life had changed that. I had accepted that this was a consequence of a new relationship's honeymoon phase, but this, I really wasn't expecting this. Rose purged her online presence entirely. She effectively disappears, as my friend says, afar into Sahara. I did compare notes with all of our common friends, and we were all left completely lost. We made a few attempts to contact Rose via phone and letters, but each one was decidedly ignored, and she had changed her phone number. Even her local friends were cut off entirely. Bro, this is bad. This is real bad stuff that's going on. But how do you save someone from themselves if they're so clearly unwilling to be saved? Ugh, tangled web. Years later, Rose managed to hunt down one of our common friends who brought us together again. Rose told me her side of things at that point. Sheen had lied to all of her friends about Rose's mental state, made everyone think she was crazy and dangerous. He had isolated her from everyone, and sown seeds of distrust and paranoia into her mind toward everyone but him and her immediate family. Oh yeah, and also she never did poke him in the chest with a pen, although he might have deserved that. Rose apologized to me and our friends for just ghosting us like that. Her and I had a long heart-to-heart, and I chose to forgive her and welcome her back into my life. Rose and I have since continued our friendship where we left off before Sheen entered the picture. We have our grown-up duties now, but we make sure to stay in touch and be there for each other during the darkest of times, and to celebrate important milestones and happy achievements together. I don't know, OP. I think you're a bigger person than me in this case. I have a somewhat unwritten rule about rejecting people before they reject me, and if I've been rejected once, like, why would I open that door again? I guess so you can continue enjoying that friendship, which it seems that you did, so I'm glad for you. I'm trying to think really hard on if I would reopen the door or not. I guess it's really not Rose's fault, you know, she was manipulated. So sure, open the door, come on back in, I'll try and keep you from getting manipulated again. Anyways, Rose and OP laugh about how young we used to be and how old we feel now. Mood. Her family's adopted me as an honorary member, and we have hopes to meet up again in the near future for a big celebration. Rose is happy. She really found herself and is dating a lovely guy who actually treats her right. I couldn't be happier for her. But what about the beard? Well, let's go back in time. Back to the day that Rose said her, luckily temporary, goodbyes. I was sitting at my laptop, fingers hovering over the keys, staring at the words that Rose had left her friends with on the screen. I couldn't do more, at least not for now, but I could reach out to Sheen and ask what the hell was going on. Before I could open the chat window, I heard a little boop announcing that I had a new message, and of course, it was Sheenbeard. He said, Rose broke up with me. I feel like my whole world's crashing down around me. I don't know how to even begin to get through this. Dude, what? What you talking about, bro? OP retorts and says, she just blocked all of her friends. What is even happening over there? Sheen, she just broke up with me. I don't know, she's crazy, but she won't let me help her. I could save her from herself, but she won't even let me do that. I have to try and get that PlayStation back somehow, though. Yeah, priorities. I'm so sad, OP. I don't want to live anymore. I just want to end it all. Over the PlayStation or over Rose? I'm a little bit confused right now. Oh yes, he had spoken the magic words. The words that I'd hear from my mother only a few months later. The words that used to make me drop everything for anyone at any time in order to stop them from trying to apply nuclear solutions to problems that are meant to be repaired with a tub of ice cream and a little bit of time. God, I said it before, I say it again. I love the way this OP writes. It's beautiful. Good advice, yes. This is where we will leave the first part of our Sheen saga, and I hope that you enjoyed the tale. I'll write more during the holidays for sure. Oh, and regarding the magic words, well, nowadays, those words put me into, you need professional help. I can get you some numbers, but this is way above my pay grade mode. That's the proper mode. Don't try to be someone's therapist, guys. Well, unless you're like an actual licensed therapist and they are your patient. My point here is, trying to take responsibility for someone else's life in a situation like that is a form of hubris that I do not recommend to anyone. You can and should attempt directing that person to professional help, but under no circumstances should you take their life onto your shoulders. Be a friend. Accompany them to the doctor if they need it, but you are only responsible for one life, and that life is yours. Unless you're a parent with underage kids, in which case this doesn't apply to you. But I digress. Bottom line, don't drown yourself trying to hold somebody else above water. Please, Mother of Rain. P.S. In the first story I wrote, when I said I was too focused on my booze to notice Palm eyeing me, it was a typo of books and not chesticles, ReddX, you perv. Hey, way to call me out at the end there. I'm loving that. You know me, I make it do what it do. I'm gonna end the video here. It's a little bit of a short one. I had a lot of errands to run today. But we'll be back to Sheenbeard before too long. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. Like, comment, subscribe, do all them things. Ring the bell, you know? Follow me on social medias. Many links in the description. Discord, TikTok, maybe Twitter if you want. I don't know. Thank you, of course, to my Patreon patrons, my beautiful YouTube channel members. Keep yourself safe out there, guys. Wash your hands. And always remember, of course, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely, definitely deserve it. I shall see you in the next one. And until then, bye-bye.